Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have an upload that, in my eyes, and I hope in yours, is just truly amazing. To me, it is just jam-packed full of information that really adds to my puzzle. It actually makes it larger, and to me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for answers, but if I have to enlarge the puzzle to get those answers, that's what I want to do. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, briefly, at the end of this upload, I am going to kind of share something with the people who are or have been with the channel for a while and notice something's off. I'm not going to do it in the beginning of the upload and take too much of your time. Just for those that are wondering what the heck is going on and would like to hear or would like an explanation, just wait until the end of the upload. All right, let's get into it. Now, in today's upload, I'm going to talk a lot about the Nephilim Giants, why and how we are still seeing these creatures lurking. It's not just, the Lovelock cave systems and in Saudi Arabia and other places. They're being spotted all over the world. I really credit Stephen Quayle and Tom Horn to my interest in this because they peaked it, and then I started to talk a little bit about it, and some subscribers sent me a couple of experiences. To me, when I hear Nephilim, and you look at like the Book of Enoch and the Book of the Giants and such, they talk about a lot of genetic coding and breeding and whatnot. And these fallen angels, or the angels that descended to earth, not only did they breed with the female human, but they also bred with animals. And to me, if we call a baby born out of angel and human a Nephilim, why wouldn't we give that same name to a angel and kind of an animal? So maybe that's where Dogman comes from. Maybe that's where Bigfoot comes from. I'm not sure. I've always heard Sumerian texts talk about a dog-headed race of aliens. But who's to say that they didn't just see these dog-headed race of aliens come out of a portal and think, holy cow, that's an alien. Or he came from somewhere else. And, you know, it just, a lot of it starts to make sense when you think about it and start to read more about it. But let's get into some really crazy information though. So the first bit of information I want to share with you. City of the Giants in the Amazon of Ecuador. Now, I had just shared a experience from the Amazon, and a pretty intense experience, actually. Supposed pyramid and an entire megalithic city built by ancient giants, according to mythology. City of Giants, a city lost in the middle of the remote jungle of the Ecuadorian Amazon. It was rediscovered in 2012, but mainstream archaeologists say it is not an artificial construction, that it is natural. This could be concealment. Allegedly, a pyramid and massive oparts artifacts were found. It has been called one of the most important but ignored discoveries of the 21st century. This citadel is considered sacred today by some of the indigenous Ecuadorian people. Ancient legend speak of colossus beings that inhabited the Amazon. They would have built various megalithic sites still to be discovered. In 2012, a team of explorers and local residents gathered to search for this lost city. The locals claimed that it did exist, and they already knew about it. It was a sacred place where they always performed and perform rituals to invoke powerful jungle spirits. The group discovered or rediscovered several massive structures in this city of giants. The largest is 80 meters high by 80 meters wide. It is a supposed pyramid with one side tilted at an irregular angle and a slope so high that it seems artificial. Its astonishing stone blocks were estimated to weigh somewhere between 2 tons. At the top of the pyramid is a flat, well-polished rock that may have been used for a sacred ceremony or an altar for sacrifices of offerings. According to archaeologist Benoit Duvernal, the structure resembles a square or street, along with a roof of a building built at a 60-degree angle. Rectangular rocks with sharp edges that look carved steps, rocks, or blocks impeccably aligned, and stone carved into peculiar shapes. A very dense and solid material can be identified between the rocks. It is a type of cement that could be one of the first manufactured in South America. These hypothetical giants would have been very advanced engineers of antiquity. I only went like that because it's in parentheses, because mainstream archaeology and anthropologists are debating this still to this day, some 13 years later. Tools of giant and conspiracy. In addition to legendary Aboriginal references to ancient giants in the Amazon, there is the discovery of various manufactured tools of enormous size, such as hammers. These tools, or ooparts, could not have been used by human hands, only by the hands of a colossal being. Team member Bruce Fenton concluded that is one of the strongest pieces of evidence for the existence of giants in this ancient time. It should be noted that throughout America and around the world there are records of ancient beings with great height. Even the discovery of bones has been reported. There are also the Middle Eastern giants like the Nephilim and the Cyclops of Greece and Rome. This alleged city of giants of the Ecuadorian Amazon is controversial, as mainstream academics consider it to be nothing more than a myth In 2013, Ecuadorian Minister of Culture concluded that the pyramid was a natural formation and no further investigation was needed. Let's hope they are not hiding this. So, if you look up Ecuadorian giant pyramid, you will be able to see photos of the rock work, the masonry. And these are not natural occurring things. I'm looking at the photo now, and I do encourage you guys to just type it in, Ecuadorian Pyramid of Giants. And, you can see it looks like a old cobblestone road. And then there is the pyramid, and it is angled at a 60-degree angle going up. And it's flat on one side with this very strange polished rock on top. So you've got all of these cobblestones, with a non-natural occurring cement in between them. But it's like, if you really think about, the Ecuadorian culture of ministry said that it's not. Well, so what happened to everything that archaeologists that were in the mainstream, when they handed stuff over, to the museums, they disappear. And that's a proven and known fact. So in the subscriber experience that I shared about 2-3 weeks ago, they talk about a giant or Nephilim that was stalking the forests of the Amazon. And a lot of strange portal happenings started happening. And then right here, there is scientific evidence that, hey, there were these Nephilim in the Ecuadorian Amazon, which the Amazon rainforest is huge. So, also going back to why science or modern science would be wanting to discredit this is because it would really trash everything that they have been saying for the last 100 years. Then science or scientists would have to really take a look at and really take a look at the biblical flood, the fallen angels, Nephilim. So they'd almost have to go hand in hand with religion. And that a lot of scientists don't want to do that. Even though my own belief, Jesus Christ is my Savior, but I do believe that the Bible is a manual of teaching us how to be to others, but it's also a history lesson. It is a history book. So when I started to look into this Ecuadorian Amazon giant pyramid, I found this. A team of researchers had discovered a while ago an ancient complex of pyramids and various structures in a remote part of the Ecuadorian Amazon rainforest. They documented the site as best as they could, snapping several images of strange structures and artifacts, and filming a couple of videos. This ancient city, believed to have been built and inhabited by giants, was mentioned by the natives in this region, but no one had dared to search for this lost city. But hold on a second, giants aren't real. Well, Ecuadorian legends speak of ancient cities of giants abandoned by their inhabitants long ago. Little by little, these allegedly once majestic cities have been claimed by nature over the past couple of centuries. In fact, not only do Ecuadorian legends speak of giants, but tribes throughout the Amazon basin recall the existence of an ancient race of giants who built prosperous cities long before regular-sized humans arrived in the area. Similar stories can be found across the planet, no matter where we look, from Patagonia to North America, from Europe to Asia. Ancient texts and oral language and oral legends mention beings of humongous size walking the earth in a distant past. And exactly such legends are what inspired a group of researchers to travel to a remote part of the Ecuadorian Amazon in order to search for this lost city. It is said that several tribes have been using this city of giants as a traditional meeting place since time immemorial, and it is believed that it is inhabited by powerful spirits. The place was sacred to the locals, and they talked about their builders with a mixture of fear and respect. The reason behind this attitude towards the builders was clear once the team realized the presence of ancient megalithic structures on the site. The largest of the structure, found by explorers, was a pyramid 80 meters high and 80 meters wide. At the top of the structure is a flat area that could have been used as a ceremonial or sacrificial platform. Near the pyramid, researchers found many artifacts carved of stone. That looks like a paved wall, an old street or square with a 60-degree angle, maybe a roof of the larger structure, said French-American archaeologist Benoit Duvernel. Many of the stones were perfectly aligned, have sharp edges, and appear to have been sculpted by a man's hand, or a giant's hand. The protective layer of soil had preserved the smooth surfaces of the stone. It is also revealed that the presence of a cement-like substance is used to hold the boulders together. Judging by the apparent age of the ruins, this could be the first example of concrete used in the Americas. Apparently, the builders of this ancient citadel possessed engineering knowledge well ahead of its time. All right, so to me, that information right there really strengthens that subscriber experience that was shared a couple of weeks ago in the Amazon. And they were loggers that experienced this experience. Imagine portals and a Nephilim and other creatures like Dogman seen in the vicinity of each other. It really just, and people wonder, well, why is, how can it be that this and that are seen together? Well, they've been seen together for thousands of years. Marco Polo talks about a race of giants and a race of dog-headed men. Yet, but mainstream just shoves it away because they don't want us to know about it. They don't want us to know. The government's still hiding this from us today. This is very interesting. Very, very interesting right here. According to biblical writings, little David defeated the Colossus Goliath with a slingshot and thus became the second Hebrew monarch. The veracity of this myth, difficult for many people to assimilate, was reinforced by the discovery of a clay vessel containing the oldest Philistine inscriptions found to date. The object, which was found in Israel in early November of 2005 by archaeologists from Tel Aviv University, contains Proto-Canaanite inscriptions with a non-Semitic names, Alwet and Wilt, no vowel except A, L, W, T, and WLT, which, according to Professor Aaron Dembski, are similar to the archaic letters of Goliath. According to the studies carried out, this object is authentic since it was manufactured only hundreds of years after David. The discovery seems to be another piece of a puzzle of a theory kept dormant by anthropologic and archaeologic community, which postulates the coexistence of three human races of different size in ancient times: the giants, the current humans, and the dwarves. So much evidence has accumulated regarding the existence of these three human species that scientists have had to go to great lengths to turn a blind eye and maintain the widely accepted scheme of linear evolution. Hobbits of Indonesia. To begin with, the existence of a race of hobbit men with the average height of 1 meter went from legend to reality in the autumn of 2004, when a group of researchers in Indonesia discovered the bones of a small human who coexisted with modern man until just about 12,000 years ago. Although the date of extinction of this species was calculated based on the remains found, hypotheses were put forward to postulate the survival of descendants of these hobbits in the interior of remote Indonesian jungle. But what many people really ignore is that since the last century, there's been many more discoveries of fossils of men 3 times the height of an average human. In fact, there are so many that we can only cover some of them superficially. Remains of giants have been found in virtually every corner of the globe. Numerous giant remains all over the planet. Perhaps the most popular case is that of the Java giant early man of Java and South China, whose age is believed to be around 300,000 years. Remains of similar individual with 6 fingers on each limb and 6 toes is found in China. This characteristic of polydactyly, abnormal number of fingers on limbs, seems to have been a common pattern in these species. Biblical passage tells there was a war in Gath, and there was a man of great stature who had 24 fingers, 6 on each end. This man, also a descendant of Rapha. A similar case to the previous one occurred in a cave in Atiuka, former Soviet Union, where skeletons of individuals measuring between 2.8 and 3 meters were found and also had 6 fingers on their hands and feet. Other cases that we can name by quickly reviewing the archaeological annals are the Chinini tombs in Tunisia. I just talked about those the other day, where the remains of a 3-meter tall being rests. The Bradford tomb in the United States, found in 1880, which contains skeletons over 2 meters tall with strange horn-like protrusions protruding above the ciliary arches. Footprints in Glen Rose, Texas. 54.61 by 13.97 centimeters were surprisingly found next to footprints of a brontosaurus. Young giant of Lixus, whose height at 11 years old was around 2.2 meters. Bone remains found in the Arbasa mountain range in Spain. According to various documents, the largest giant found so far was a skeleton, some 5.8 meters tall, and was unearthed in 1956 in Gargantuan, Philippines. I mean, think about how we get our words in English, they always come from something else. Gargantuan, there's giant bones found and giant, remnants found in an area of Philippines called Gargantuan. And now we say gargantuan. But yet, giants don't exist, It's just a coincidence, right? According to various documents, the largest, each of his incisors measured 5 centimeters wide with 15 centimeters long. It is estimated that during his lifetime, this man could have reached 5.4 meters tall. But not everything is biological remains. Apart from legends, which, by the way, abound tools and giant bones, there's another factor that supporters of the three-race theory propose as a valid argument of the existence of giants. Megalithic monuments of enormous size that can be found erected on almost every continent on Earth. If we take into account that at present there is no means to move rocks of such magnitude as those that make up the pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge, and Maui of Easter Island in Chile, we can begin to fall into a chilling uncertainty. It is true that some of these huge rocks could be moved by machinery that we have managed to develop in these times, but how did the ancients do it? Perhaps the answer lies in the existence of a breed called Goliaths. But accepting the fact that modern humans have coexisted until very recently with dwarves and giants would mean overturning a number of long-held theories and starting from scratch. Now from the Amazon, let's jump over to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. Recent gas exploration is going in the desert of the southeast region of Saudi Arabia. This desert region is called Empty Quarter, which means in Arabic, Rab ul Kuli. This body was found by a Marco exploration team. This proves what Allah SWT said in the Quran about the people of AAD nation and HOOD nation. They were so tall and wide and very powerful that they were able to pull big trees with just one hand. But what happened after, when they became misguided and disobeyed Allah, He destroyed the whole nation. Ulema Karim of Saudi Arabia believes that this body belongs to the AAD nation. Saudi military took over this whole area, and nobody is allowed in this region except for Saudi Morocco personnel. Saudi government has kept it very secret, hush hush, but some military helicopters were taken pictured of, and one of them, He runs on internet in Saudi Arabia. The length of the skeleton's head is 5 feet. Therefore, the height of this creature would have been 25 to 30 feet. Is that too tall for the Anunnaki? Legendary skeleton. Recent exploration activity in the northern region of India uncovered a skeleton remain of a human of phenomenal size. This region of the Indian desert is called the Empty Quarter. The exploration team also found tablets and inscriptions that stated that our gods of Indian mythology, Brahma, had created people of phenomenal size, the like of which he has not created since. They were very tall, big, and very powerful, such that they could put their arms around a trunk of trees and uproot them. They were created to bring order amongst us, since we were always fighting with each other. So that's not back then. They're saying now that, or not now, within the last years or centuries or whatever, since the flood, now these things were created again because humans can't stop fighting with each other. Geo-exploration team believes that these are the remains of those. Government of India has secured the whole area, and no one is to or allowed to enter except for Nat Geo personnel. This classic leg pull has now been circulating via email, blogs, and forums for several years, and has even been published by some news outlets as factual. In fact, the giant skeleton images that travel with these messages are not photographs depicted real discoveries, but instead clever manipulations. And, a lot of recipients would be quick to doubt the authenticity of these images. However, submissions indicate that a high quality of fake images coupled with the vaguely plausible explanation that accompany them are apparently enough to convince many recipients that the discoveries are in fact genuine. So far, there have been 2 popular variants. The first variant above claims that the skeleton of the gigantic human was discovered during a gas exploration in the southeast region of the Arabian Desert, and sports the artificial or attached photograph. Second variant moves the action to the Indian desert, replaces the Islamic references with mentions of characters in Indian mythology, according to Brahma. Oh, Saudi Arabia, Middle East, Amazons, United States, or ancient Native American, and what they thought of the giants. Various Native American tribes have passed down legends from generation to generation about a race of white giants that was exterminated. Below, let's review some of these that were found by the Kamanche and Choctaw. Choctaw. Horace Bardwell Cushman writes in his 1899 book, History of Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Natchez Indian. Choctaw tradition speaks of a race of giants who once lived in what is now the state of Tennessee, and whom ancestors fought when they reached the Mississippi after migrating west. Their tradition holds that the Nanahulu people, a race of giants, were of good stature. Cushman explains in this book that Naholo, a term commonly used to refer to white man, but that it originally specifically designated a race of white giants with whom the Choctaw came to contact with as they crossed the Mississippi. Legends say Naholo were cannibals and that the Choctaw killed them whenever they had a chance. Kamanche. The Kamanche were a tribe. Comanche were a tribe of natives on the Great Plains. One of their chiefs, Thunder That Rumbles, told this in 1857 about a race of white giants. Uncountable moons ago, a race of white men, some 10 feet tall, and far richer and more powerful than any white man now living, dwelt here over a large tract of the country. From the rising sun to the setting, their fortifications crowned the summits of the mountains, protected their cities built in the intervening valleys. They surpassed all other nations that ever existed before and since, with all kinds of ingenious craftsmanship. They were brave and warlike. They ruled the lands they had wrestled from their former owners with pride and arrogance. Compared to them, the pale face of today were pygmies, both in skill and war. The chief explained that when this race forgot justice and mercy and became too proud, the Great Spirit would exterminate them. And all that remained of their civilization were buried mounds visible to this day. This is documented by Dr. Donald Panther Yates, a researcher and author of books on the history of the Native American people. Now, the Navajo. So this is pretty interesting. Yates also writes about the Starnake people of Navajo legend, a majestic race of white giants who knew mining technology and dominated the West. Enslaved inferior tribes possessed fortifications throughout the Americas. This race became extinct or returned to the heavens. Manta, Chronicles of Peru, back in 1553. Natives tell of a story they heard from their parents and them from there. They came by the sea, made of rafts of reeds like large boats, some men so big that one of them was as tall from their knees down to an ordinary man, even if he were of good size. Their limbs conformed to the size of their bodies, so mishappen that it was a monstrous thing to see their heads. So big were they. And the hair that reached to their back, the eyes indicate they had large, the eyes indicate that they were as large as small plates. So their eyes were as large as small plates. Interesting. The giants were disgusted by the natives. Paiutes. Oral tradition among the Paiute tell a race of white and red-haired cannibals, some 3 meters tall, who lived near Lovelock in Nevada. So, United States. Saudi Arabia, the Middle East, I guess we'd say. There's been a race of, or a couple days ago I talked about Israel. So, Solomon Islands, the Amazon. So with all of this, and then the Pueblo, living in caves, or, the Gila, their cave dwelling up there in New Mexico. There was a reason why Native Americans that lived out west lived so high above the land, because some of these giants were 10, 12 feet tall, which is, I mean, it really just, the evidence is there. They talk about a white Anglo kind of giant, even in Saudi Arabia, even in the Middle East. So are they kind of like an angelic creation? To me, it seems like they are. There was that race of giants that I talked about a couple days ago that had dog-like muzzles and such, canine teeth. This is all evidence that, these creatures were real and they still are here. Just because we don't see them constantly, portals are being used. Some are being kept captive by our government and other governments throughout the world, just to hide this from us. So, imagine the panic if we found out that there were races of giants still lurking this earth. It would be unbelievable. We know they exist, but would the mainstream people, they would be so beside themselves. And even if they heard this information, they would still say no. It baffles me sometimes. It really does. All right, so that is the end of today's kind of information that I wanted to share with you. I said in the beginning of the upload that I kind of wanted to talk about something. About a week ago, I talked a little bit about why I've been off my game, and I really am, and I really have been. I'm exhausted, and I thought it was because I burnt myself out, when that's not true. My youngest daughter is going through some really severe mental health issues. And she had made some comments a couple days ago, about a week ago. I was able to calm her down, talk with her to people and such, but yesterday, or just a little while ago, as I'm recording this at 3 a.m, she tried, and I had to contact a mobile center, trauma center, that they came to the house and evaluated and talked to her. And so I'm exhausted and I'm off my game majorly because, and I said it the other day, mental health is a tragic. Parents that have to deal with it with their children is so hard. And I don't know what's going on. But I do apologize for being off my game. Like, this information I'm sharing with you guys right now is so important, and I'm so tired, but I don't know what else to do with my time. I don't know what else. So I'm like, I'm just going to share this. I make a cup of coffee and, stay up, and I'm wide awake, but I'm so tired. My eyes aren't working. I'm off my game, and I'm sorry. And, if anyone else is out there dealing with a child that's going through this, there are places that you can call. And I never thought I would have to deal with something like this. And I'm actually holding back tears right now because it was so hard today. luckily, by the grace of God, I was able to get her some help that she needed, and hopefully she got coping skills out of the deal. And I hope that when she gets home, she doesn't hate me. But anyway, yeah, if you're going through the same thing that I'm going through, it's hard, and I know it is hard. You know, I had mentioned David Paulides the other day because with his son, he went through a lot too. And, you know, it's crazy. And I know I don't need to apologize for anything, but I feel bad because I try to hold my standard of whatever to a certain, you know, even though I say a lot, and when a subscriber will send me an experience, I narrate it, usually have it printed out. But if a subscriber calls me and I do an interview with them and it's amazing information and I want to get it out to you guys as quick as possible, I'll like stammer through it. But that's me telling you their experience with just jotted notes. Today's totally different, and I'm sorry. And just remember, you know, if you are going through something similar like I have been going through for the last month and a half, you know, there are people you can call, and they are usually quick to respond, especially when it's a child or a youth, not a child, teenager. But yeah, thank you. And I do appreciate everybody that supports this channel. So thank you. Let's jump into the outro. Thank you for supporting the channel. It is your support that keeps this channel growing and going, and honestly what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Just simply treated with the respect we all deserve, and that is because of all of you, so thank you. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, the most precious gift we are given, our pets, the greatest alarm system ever, family and friends, the ones that mean the most to us. Share this information with those that you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. And until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.